Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for visiting once again. And back we are for the final time on this occasion with the F4U 1D Corsair in 1/48 scale from Tamiya or Tamiya, depending upon where you come from. Wherever you come from, you're very welcome. Thanks very much for visiting. And anyway, let's carry on. So finally, I'm now complete with the Corsair, and it will be given to my daughter, actually, who gifted the thing to me in the first place. I've tried to do some upgrades to this, and as you will have seen in the videos and in the films I've done, and now I'm going to go through one or two of the things here and show you where we added things in, and things that might have gone wrong a little bit, and where I think I can improve when I do a 1/32 scale variant of this model, which I undoubtedly will do at some point in the future, and obviously I hope you tune in for that one. We'll go into rather more detail there, but I think, to be honest with you, as a test bench for a number of things, this has worked out rather better than I'd anticipated. Anyway, let's take a look. But before I do, I'm just going to move this to one side and talk to you briefly about this. So this is the excellent book by David Morris about the Corsair KD 431 that is resplendent in the Fleet Air Arm Museum in Yeovilton, or in Yeovil anyway. You can go and visit this thing for a very small amount of money and see a lot of other aircraft from the Fleet Air Arm. This, I think, the KD431 is a quite unique aircraft. It is the last, we believe, or I believe, remaining Corsair FG1A anywhere in the world, and is in completely original condition, right down to the point that the engine hasn't even been taken out of the aircraft at any point in its life. It is, as they say, or as David says in his book here, a time capsule fighter. It's completely unique, I think, in this regard. And so when I became aware of this, I couldn't help but say to myself, I have to try and model this aircraft as closely as I possibly can. And I believe I have achieved that to some extent. There are some details missing, which are difficult with scale, but I've done the best I can, let's put it like that. So let's take a look at what we did. I suppose the first thing is the markings. The markings are painted on with a couple of exceptions, and I'll tell you what they are right now. These markings here, the S markings on either side, are decals which I've painted over to try and simulate the paint finished letter S for when the aircraft was stationed with 1835 Naval Air Squadron, NAS, which was its first posting after it arrived to the United Kingdom from its ship. It was given the number KD431, and if we zero in, I have managed to accurately depict that here, and I'm to be honest with you quite pleased with this. I had to doctor the decal, so that's another decal there. And if we go over here, we can see on the other side exactly the same thing but upside down, so that's the Australian version. And so this is the 1835 Squadron Corsair depicted here. As you'll know from the museum piece, there's an M overwriting the S on the port side, and on the starboard side you can see E2M written on the let's show it on camera, E2M on this side. So there's some significant effort I've gone to there, and I'm, to be honest with you, quietly quite pleased with the way that that's turned out. The markings, the roundel markings and the fin flashes are all painted, and I talked to you about that on previous videos about how I've achieved this, and at arm's length they look pretty reasonable. I think there are some lessons I've learned and will take forward in the future for doing a 1/32 scale, but as you can see at first glance they don't look too bad at all. I've put a degree of wear onto the aircraft in the technique that I showed you in my other video, or my other videos, with simply by painting silver followed by zinc chromate yellow and then the glossy sea blue. So this is the first time I've tried something like this, and it seems to have come out really quite nicely. It's I think quite realistic in that sense, or as realistic as one can make it. So that's a first time for me there. There's a first in the sense that I've used MRP paints as well. That was an adventure, but a very easy one. So that worked quite nicely. We'll go to the front of the aircraft here, and what you can just about make out if you look in there, the engine I've updated and upgraded with some spark plug lines going in there, which I've painted to highlight them. That's slightly inaccurate in the sense that there should be 2 spark plugs for each cylinder, and you'll see if you look carefully there's only 1 wire going to each cylinder. So that's something that should have been done in a little more detail. You can see them there. They show through quite nicely, and that's, I think, quite good. I've managed to capture the white inside of the cowling here, and obviously the zinc chromate yellow inside the back of the vent cowlings there. Now you'll note that there aren't any seat belts in. The seat belts I may put in later, but I don't think so. They're so, the buckles and so on are so absolutely minute, they're beyond my vision, to be honest with you. So what I may very well do is leave that as it was. Having sat in this cockpit of KD431 at the Fleet Air Arm Museum, I can tell you there are no seat belts in that. They were taken out, so that's what we have there. So let's have a quick look down from the top. I put the decals on for the walkway markings here, and here, and then here and here, and I've overpainted them with some just some grey paint just to simulate some walking. They do shine a bit, so I suspect on the 132 scale what I might do is just simply paint those on and then score them that way, that's probably going to be better. The one thing that you can't see on this, and I haven't put on, is that the FG-1As supplied to the Royal Navy had vents that stuck out either side, just about here. And I haven't put those on, but I will do on the 132 scale. The aerial that you can just about make it out here. It's just there. I've used a piece of copper wire. Now this is the same wire as I used when I upgraded the springs that you can see here. You can just about make those out now. There you go. So let's get the little poker out, shall we? In fact, I'll use it at the end of a brush. So those are the suspension, well, they're not suspension springs, they're return springs. There's also, you can see at the back here, let's see if we can focus in on that one, the brake pipes there that go up through the units, and so we've added some additional detail there as well. And just finally, I've masked in these yellow markings. Now, I thought they were yellow and black markings. They're actually not yellow and black markings if you examine it really carefully. They're simply yellow stripes painted over the glossy sea blue, and they don't extend all the way across the rim here. So this is slightly incorrect on both sides. They're about half the width of that rim. So there are some additional things to think about there. But there we are. Let's just zero back out again so that you can see this properly. There is some shine on this. I used a semi-gloss varnish, and that, excuse me, I think that has come out okay. I don't know whether it might be wise to just scrape over this to just give the effect of wear and scrape the varnish away, but I wanted to varnish this just to try and remove the legend of the decals, because as we all know, Tamiya decals are really quite thick. They go down okay, but they're really quite thick, and they give a legend. So there we are. But that after quite a long time, because I'm quite a slow modeler, I'm afraid, is that for the 1/48th scale F4U1D. I've modelled it to be as close as I can to an F4U1A, and as you can see, I've knocked out the climbing foot peg there, which was on the F4U1Ds, the later ones, and that's that. So I wanted to thank you all for popping in and seeing what I was doing when I was building this kit. It's a fairly simple one, and really it's one that you could, I suppose, to some extent dash off in a couple of weeks if you were minded to. I don't always get the same amount of time to do this sort of thing as I might want to, which means that my projects last a little longer. So I do hope that your patience has been rewarded with a view of a model. Do give me your thoughts on what you considered were the good things on this, and maybe the bad things. I mean, you'll probably say that the roundel on the starboard side was one of the bad things, because that's quite a long way out. I think the white marking is slightly out, is what's caused the problem here. But there were lessons learned from that, and so if you were to say such a thing, then I'd say, yeah, absolutely, not wrong there. So there we are. Thanks very much indeed, everybody, for tuning in and watching. There'll be more projects coming up. Obviously, the next one I'm doing is the Focke-Wulf, the FW190, the A8, and I hope you'll join me on that one. There is one or two things to do, and I have some further engine detailing to do, because that's in 132 scale, so we can go into a little bit more detail there. But anyway, enough of that. This was about the Corsair. And whilst I'm here, I wanted to just say finally a very big thanks to David Morris, who wrote KD431 Corsair, the time capsule fighter. Do please visit Yeovilton and pick up this book. It's an absolutely fascinating read for anybody who has an interest in Fleet Air Arm Corsairs. If you have any interest in these things at all, please do pick that book up. It's not expensive. And in fact, I suspect you could even buy it at the Fleet Air Arm Museum. And so you could sort of do a 2-for-1, as it were. But there we are. Thanks very much, everybody, after 12.5 minutes of me wibbling on. I hope you'll join me again for another project. I shall look forward to seeing you, and look forward even more to reading your comments. Take care until the next time. Bye for now.